All right, so I found this beautiful Porter cable plate joiner at a thrift store. It's my first time trying it out. I thought I'd catch it on video. So, plate joiner gives you a square angle to register boards, so you're always putting slots at the same height. And then you use wooden biscuits to join the boards together. So the biscuits, very inexpensive. I just bought some. The brand is Win. And these biscuits, when you use them to join boards together, they don't withstand a lot of shear force, but they work very well for joining the boards level across the face that you joint. So I'm just gonna square some lines, see how this tool works. First time trying it out. So, I've got some pieces of poplar here that I rescued out of a pallet. And I'm just going to space these biscuits evenly between these three boards, and we'll end up with something kind of like a cutting board. Really, I'm just practicing joining them together. All right. The general guidance for these biscuits is that they should be between 2 to 4 inches apart, I believe. But I'm trying to fit all of them on here. Just gonna get them maybe a little closer together than that. All right, so I've got some lines drawn, and we'll get to the next step. I'm gonna clamp these to the edge of my table. Make sure I get this clamp enough out of the way that there's no chance of the joiner hitting it. All right. Oh, I think I'm going to have trouble getting the face of the joiner on there, actually. So maybe I'll just grab the wee little corner of it with the clamp. We'll see. Or I might, you know what, I think I'll end up just moving the clamp as I go down the board. All right, so here she is. When you pull back the black top handle, you're pushing forward on the rear handle, and that makes the blade come out of the slot and cut for you. Got a red line here up top. And there's a little red line here at the front, right in front of the blade. So it's pretty easy to line up on the spot that you want to cut. And I got a nice slot. So I'm at the 20 gauge on the tool. These are number 20 biscuits. I'm not sure if you can see that there. And these number 20 biscuits, you see the slot is wider than the biscuit, but the 20 has a little center register on it. And when I stick this in, it is inserting to the depth of the little center register on the biscuit. So even though the slot is nice and wide, I guess that gives you a little bit more room to glue it. The depth is correct. Go ahead and do a second one. These might end up overlapping. I might have them too close together. We'll see what that does. And they just barely don't overlap. Hey, that was not by design, just luck. All right. One thing, you want to make sure that you let the tool spin up all the way before you drive it into the wood. Hey, all right. I feel like my little thrift store biscuit joiner is going to work okay. I like that those slots are wide. It gives me a little wiggle room. I think this one may have been just a little off center on the last one. But having that wiggle room there is going to make it nice. You gotta make sure you get that flat, that nice plate, flat on the front and the back. You can't rock it. Yeah, that front plate is kind of wide, so on a little piece like this, it does make you move your clamps around. It doesn't stop real fast. You gotta hold it up till it stops all the way. Right. Let's see how well these face together. So these boards were, I table saw jointed them, so the faces are flat, or well, almost flat. I can see just a tiny smidge of daylight through there. All right. Great thing about a plate joiner is you get the same slot to the same depth and the same width and the same distance from the top of your board every time. Just getting a little dry fit there. Yeah. A little sand. We'll take out that line. There's not actually really like a height difference at all. Maybe just a tiny one. But that'll just come out with regular sanding, and the glue, once I clamp it and glue it together, I think I'll have a nice face out of that. I'm going to do the other board and then I'll come back. All right, I'm trying to set these up so that they can have a nice character. I like this green and white stripe of the poplar. See, that is not how I had it lined up. That is certainly not how I had it lined up. Ah, there we go. That is how I meant to do it. Just make sure I'm still doing the right face of the board. Could probably make it work with one clamp, but like 2 points of leverage there. I'm afraid it'll spin if I just do one. Although the one is too close for me to get the plate on. I think this may be a slightly older model of the Porter cable, but I looked this up on that website where we buy stuff, and man, the new version of this tool is quite the investment. So, at a thrift store find for $8, I think I did all right. Yeah, I'm feeling a little more comfortable with it. Definitely makes what I'd call an okay amount of sawdust. Alright, at this spot the board has a little knot. I don't think it'll be a challenge, because I think this spins at about 10,000 RPM. Well, let's see. Oh, went through that little knot there. You can see the little knot on the face of the board. Went through that, didn't even feel it. Oops. It's 2 on the floor now. Oh yeah, so you can, because of the extra width of the slots, you can actually wiggle it about 1 millimeter, oh, maybe 2 millimeters there in either direction, which is pretty nice. If you want to like match up the grain just a little bit. This one I had already kind of decided that I wanted it square on one end. And that came together really well. Let's get some glue on it, clamp it up. Okay, so I have a terrible habit when I'm doing glue ups. Put that right there. See if it'll stay down. Nope, a little too big. Of using way too much glue. On this glue up, I'm going to try to not. We'll see. I definitely didn't just use my teeth to get that open. Alright. I get one of those fancy glue bottles maybe next. Alright, so the directions I read, looked up the manual for this tool, Said to put a little glue in each slot. My glue might be a little old. Start to come out. I'm squeezing really hard. You guys might think I'm putting an insane amount of glue in here. I'll show you in a second. Really not that much. Just either my glue bottle has some dried glue in the tip, or I bought this glue last year and it has wintered the last year in my garage. So probably the glue went below freezing temperature. Let's try yield smarter, not harder. Yeah, that didn't work at all. Now it's working. All right, get a little line down the face there. Okay. I love putting things on the floor. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to give this just a little spread. Hopefully, keep some of the squeeze out under control. There we go. Like a nicely buttered little piece of toast there. Make sure I get the joint above and below. Where the biscuits are. On this long edge. All right. I don't think I'll have too much squeeze out. I did get a little on the face because I'm not good at spreading. Yeah, you put that in, the glue rises up on the outside of the biscuit, but didn't actually come out. I think that means I've pretty much got the right amount. See, I crowned the glue on that one. Maybe that's a little too much glue. Just take it off. I want a little tiny bit of convincing. There we go. Now I picked the grain that I liked to be on top. I think the way you're supposed to do it is make sure that the grain is going in opposite directions. I think I lucked out on that too. You can see I've got this grain facing towards the center of the board. This grain looks like it's facing kind of oblique. And this grain looks like it's straight on. So at least all the grain isn't in the same direction. So as it dries, hopefully this thing won't completely cup. Alright, see if we can get just as well on side 2. Swing it like a ketchup bottle, get some of that glue down in the bottom. It's time for me to buy some new glue. It's coming out okay now, actually. Must have just been a coagulated part up top. I'm really just putting I'll try to raise it up so you can see it. Just a good dollop of glue, about that much, in each of these slots. Spread a little bit, but when the biscuit goes in, again, because it goes in the depth of the slot, it does squeeze that glue really neatly out the side. Just a little on the face. All right. Spread, paying attention to these edges and corners. Again, I don't want the glue to squeeze out, but I do want to get these faces stuck together. So I'm going for, I don't know if you guys like mayonnaise, but way less mayonnaise than a guy like me uses. But more like how you'd butter something. All right. There's my condenser. Center. Nice. So they can rock in there like a little boat, but But if they do rock, this side will be just a little higher. Maybe that side will be just a little bit lower. But when it comes into this slot up at the top, it doesn't matter, because remember, you've got extra room on both sides. Interestingly, it did come with a little cup. It's already got a little cup just from joining it. So maybe I didn't have those edges as dead flat as I hoped. Or maybe it's just that's the way they glued. Let's see if I can get it out on the clamp. Just to make sure I can get it out, I'm going to put the butt of the clamp sort of on the cupped face and give it a little more squeeze on that edge. See if that evens it up a little bit. Oh, it did. Even right up. Nice. That means the edges of my board are jointed pretty decently. I did that on the table saw. These are just some scraps. These are leftovers. But that whole table saw jointing trick where you run a flat side halfway down and then flip it over so you have a kerf worth past the blade seems to be legit. These boards, that's all I did to them. They're coming together pretty well. One more squeeze on the middle one. Alright. I say pretty well. I can't see any gap between these two. I do have a little gap between these two. Let's see what I can do about it. Let's give it a nice squeeze. Alright, well I believe that might be as good as it gets. So I might have to come back. And there's my little bit of squeeze out. Oh, that little gap is perfect because the squeeze out runs right into it. When your glue squeezes out, you do want to make sure you wipe it up. Don't put water on the wood. But if you've got a paper towel, you get a wee bit of water on it. Tiny bit. You can use that to make sure the squeeze out comes off. But don't get enough water on it where the board soaks it up and decides to grow. Alright, so that's my found it at a thrift store plate joiner. Making a little slab here. Not perfectly jointed, but all in all, I think I got a great deal at the thrift store that came together really well.